Welcome to the Solidity Insurance Group agency call. Today is January 2nd of 2025. So guys, this is the first team call of the new year. Honestly, new year doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I think every day we wake up and if we decide to treat it like a new year, then that's exactly what it can be. But without further ado, I did want to make sure that the person I had on with us today was very well vetted, was able to hear from him on different podcasts and was able to hear from him as Rami and him were recording at Andrew Taylor's office together. So they got to vibe a little bit. So we have Adrian Sardinas on with us today. Adrian, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How's everyone doing?
Doing amazing. And it's a pleasure having you on with us today. We don't take your time lightly, so we really appreciate you. And Adrian, just to kind of hit the call off, for myself and, others out there that really haven't heard a whole lot from you, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you were doing before insurance, what got you into insurance, and, why Family First Life.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I'm Adrian Sardinas. Huge pleasure being here. I am 22 years young. I've been here about 14, 15 months now. Before insurance, before anything, used to work at a dump. Like trucks come in, pick up trash, weigh them, go. That's what I used to do. Did that for about a year. Then I got invited as I'm like in the dump. I got mentioned Primerica. I took my course, passed it, and that's all that it was. I just had my license, wasn't an active producer. Then I had a buddy reach back out to me, saying, "Oh, come join this. We're making money here." He would show me commission statements here, cars here, this and that. And then us going back and forth about a month or two, I just fully quit my job, just quit my job with like $2,000 to my name and went full time. And it's been up ever since.
I love to hear that. And, I think that whether you're 22 years old on this call, like Adrian, or you are 42 years old on this call, it doesn't matter. You can reinvent yourself too. So, way to be able to just say, hey, you know what? I've been thinking about this for a while. I'm going to trust my gut, follow it. So, talk to us a little bit about what that looked like coming in for you, Adrian. Was it uncomfortable? Did you get comfortable quick? What'd that look like?
Um, so for me, I was just in a very bad mental space, very bad. I was depressed. My life wasn't going anywhere. And it got to a certain point. I was going to my job, making $18 an hour, whatever, 17, I forgot what I was making. And I would go do the same thing, and there was just no progress. So it came to the point where I was like, okay, it can't get worse. Worst comes to worst, I hate this job already, regardless. I quit, doesn't work out, find another one. That wasn't my mindset though, because I knew my buddies were making money. They had nice cars. They would show me commission statements. I full sent it. I left with 50, quit my job, get my 2 weeks in. I had $2,000 to my name and a 401k that took forever to get. And second day in, made 700 bucks, and it was huge. But that whole process, I don't think I was never scared. I just felt more free, and I had bills to pay.
I love that. And I think that, what you said too, just it made me kind of laugh in a way of like you lose almost the concept of like hourly wage, right? Adrian, you just said something that was kind of really important, to be honest. You said, I don't know, 17, 18, I forgot what I was making, right? If you were still there, you'd know what you were making. You'd be like, I make $18.15 an hour and my overtime is this, right? But like you said, bad mental space sounds like you wanted to kind of grow, develop more, do more things. So, and you're like, hey, it can't get any worse. So like they're showing me statements. I'm seeing the things that they have, the things that they're doing. Why not me? And then your second day made $700. I always say it's one thing to hear about it. It's another thing to see it hit the bank account, right?
Yeah,
So
made
talk to us about that.
So I made the $700. The way I saw it is especially I have a very addictive personality, no matter to what I do. It's anything new. I get introduced fighting, I get introduced some jujitsu, anything in life in general, I have a very addictive personality. So when I saw my buddies were making money, they were working hard, but not really. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna dog them. Like, I'm gonna just pass them. They're making money. There's no reason. They're probably the same age as me, 22, 23. I had no idea. I was a brand new pup. And I just got so addicted to this that it's my life. For me, like, I don't remember the last time I've looked at the clock while working in this industry. Do not remember. And I'm here 12, 14 hours a day, easily.
I love that. And I think it says a lot about you just as a person, and as it pertains to like an addictive personality, I think that that's almost like it's a great thing to have in this business, right? Like it's
For
one
sure.
thing to be addicted to something else, another thing to be addicted to working and to getting a better result, doing better for others and for other agents that you're leading. So, with that being said, it sounds like you probably have now a pretty good daily routine down. Would that be fair to say?
For sure. I live and die by my routine.
I love that. So I always say, your whatever your routine looks like, we'll see what your life looks like, right? And I think that there's a lot of truth to that. But talk to us a little bit about your morning routine, your daily routine, what it looks like, why it looks that way, and kind of has it always looked that way?
Yeah, so my morning routine, it's alarm goes off 4:45, for to be exact, 4:50. 4:50, I wake up, I put cold water on my face. If you want to take a cold shower, take a good shower. It's about I start getting ready to the gym the night before. I'm already ready, my bag's ready. I'll put in headphones, go to the couch, and I will meditate. Before looking at any commission statements, before looking at my phone, before looking at Instagram, before looking at anything, meditate. Why? Because the day hasn't even started yet. And if, for example, you wake up, you look at commission statements, you're playing Russian roulette with yourself because there might be a chargeback, there might be money. You should get to the point where you don't even like to look at it. Um, Wake up, no phone, cold water, meditation. For me, meditation is huge. I was always told do meditation, and I was like, this is the stupidest thing of my life. I used to hate it. Now it got to the point if I don't do my meditation in the morning, if I have a bad day, I blame it on myself because I didn't meditate. Why? Because the day barely hasn't started. You're up, you haven't seen nothing, nothing has happened, nothing's bad going through your head. All you're gonna do is just visualize how you want your day to go. And very important, visualization for your future is very important. That way you visualize what it is that you really want. So wake up, meditation. I head to the gym every single morning. Every single morning. And for me, accountability is huge. So I will go with my guys, my team. That way, one's not there, I'm not there, they're not there. We have to go. Because if not, we will hear it. Get to the gym around 6:15 every single day. Work out about like an hour 15, maybe like an hour and a half because I work out with my guys. Um, from there, very, very important. I'll go upstairs, hit the bag a little bit. This is just what I like to do. Then I go to the sauna every single morning and I play the 6 phase meditation video again in the sauna. So I've done it twice. I've been doing it twice. Before I used to do it once, but now I've been pushing twice. In the sauna, it's 13 minutes. You plug your headphones in and you just sit there, let it all out. The moment you hop right out the sauna, the first thing I do is I go take a cold shower. Why? Because I hate cold water. It is the worst thing of the life. I've been doing it for a year now, and I still cannot get used to it. I'm a cat. Do it. The way I see it is if you do everything you don't want to do in the morning, you're gonna win the day. Because if you win the morning, you win the day. So it's like a mental trick I like to play with myself. Get out the cold shower, head straight to the office. It's about 15, 20 minutes. It's about a 15-minute drive because I'll drive to the gym by here, get ready there, come here. And then I'm here 8:30 and I feel great, especially after the cold shower. And I'm ready to just kick ass.
Right. And I want to just kind of hit on too, like the meditate part, because I don't think a lot of us hear this word and we just kind of bring ourselves to this, like, unrealistic definition of what meditation actually is, right? And that mindfulness, like you said, you wake up and you put your headphones in because so you're not distracted, if you will, right? The first thing you're listening or doing is you're essentially you're meditating after that cold water hits your face, right? You
Yeah.
get at that point, like you decide, like Adrian decides what Adrian's day is going to look like, right? Now, I love how you said if I wake up and I don't meditate and my day's tough, like I blame it on the fact that I don't. Guys, if we can't spend 13 minutes, like Adrian mentioned, with ourselves, there's a bigger problem. And like I say that with love because guys, there was times that I'm like, I can't meditate. I can't well, first of all, if you tell yourself you can't do something, you definitely can't do it. But second of all, if you can't sit with yourself for a few minutes, that's not a good indicator. When you're able to start yourself on that note, like Adrian said, he wakes up, that's the first thing he's hearing. He's visualizing the day how he wants to see it. And then he's completing his gym routine, if you will, hopping in the sauna, hearing it again, going through that same visualization again. He's seeing his day happen again. That's so powerful. But when you can bring yourself to a space to actually do that, like unleashing what's inside of you. So I love how you also mentioned, Adrian, you're doing the things you don't want to do early on in the day. That way, it's like anything else you got to do is a cakewalk. Is that kind of
Yeah.
where you're going?
Yeah, the way it's because for me, that cold shower is horrible. For me, like, you don't understand. I fight so hard to get in that cold shower. I just get in there and I just turn it on. I close my eyes and I'm like, but for me, it's like, if you really do the stuff you don't want to do, it's like, what's going to be worse than that? They didn't want to wake up early. I did it. They don't want to meditate. I did it. They don't want to take the cold shower. They don't want to work out. All the stuff I didn't want to do, I already did it. So then it's like I already played this game in my mind where I cannot get affected through the day.
Absolutely. You already won the day in your mind. I think that
Yeah.
that's so important. So with that being said, talk to us a little bit about what your schedule looks like, as it pertains to work or personal, however that, intertwines, and a little bit about your lead flow.
Okay. So in terms, I'll talk to my schedule. I'll say my schedule first. I'm here every single day, 8:39. I did used to have a dialer. I let her go about 3, 4 months ago. I just got her back. Um,
Can I
but
ask why you let her go, Adrian? Sorry to interject.
so the guys, me and my team, we all came to the point that, especially my upline, he goes, no one wants to dial. So we all got in this thing of like, okay, let's get in the mud with them. Like, let's get in the mud with them. We all let go of our dialers. It was like 14 of us, just gone. Let
Mhm.
go of them. Get in the mud with our guys. We were like, oh, we can profit more too. Yes and no. Just you work longer hours. That's the only bad thing. The thing is had good the good thing about having a dialer, it kills that time so you can work for other stuff. But I'll say my morning routine now without my dialer. I'll get here about 8:39. By the time I get here, there's a cafe downstairs. Go get some nice eggs. Boom, finish my eggs. Boom. So I'll start dialing every single day between 9. I'll hop on. For me, accountability is huge, and I love to hop on with my team. You're on the team call with your guys. They see your work, and you see them work. And especially if you're their upline, if you're their downline, however it may be, we're dialing. We're all ripping dials. But around 12:30, I want to make sure I'm minimum $150
Yeah.
minimum. Minimum. The way I see it, if you're hand dialing, because if you're hand dialing, typically in an hour, it's about 30 leads.
Mhm.
30 leads that you can call, depends on the pickup rate. You have a CRM, you fly through it so much more faster. So I'll dial between 9 to 12. I'll book the whole day. After 12, I'll go get lunch, come back, and I'll start dialing again 3 to 6, 3 to 7. And a lot of the guys, if I can't run an appointment, I'll lob it to one of my guys. We'll split them. If they can't run it, the same vice versa. So what I'll do is on my dial days, which are Mondays, I pack up Tuesday, Wednesday. That's the goal. Now, you need to have good lead flow for that and a lot of leads for that. What I used to do back then when I first started, when my lead flow wasn't as good, was I would book for same day appointments. So, for example, I would dial 9 to 1 and I'll run appointments from 1 to 7. But I was dialing every single day. That's the only bad thing. But that's depends how you guys like it. For me, I like to make sure the day right after is packed, and so is Wednesday. So around, let's see, Monday, I'll dial Tuesday, Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. When you have a dialer, this is the whole purpose of why you want to elevate in this business, not even in life. It's a business. You're supposed to put everything back into it, especially the first year. The reason you get a dialer, you have enough leads already. You want to focus on your time. Time is more important. For an extra $2,000 a month or $1,500 or whatever it is that a dialer may cost you, especially if you're growing a team, get the dialer, have them book the quality appointments for you, run your appointments, and help out your team. The point of getting a dialer so you get rid of dialing so you can help out other people. But yeah, that's my schedule right now.
I love that. And there's a lot to unpack there, so to say, because I think, Adrian, would it be fair to say if there was a week that you can think of, maybe that you weren't as consistent with your schedule as you normally are, things don't usually go your way. Is that fair to say? Like,
Yeah, I've the weeks where you sit there and just rip them dials, make sure your appointments are booked, you notice such an insane difference. You'll go from doing 20, $30,000 a week to comparative you barely worked, you only did 10, for example.
right. And you feel good up here too, right? And I think that
Oh
that's,
yeah, momentum is huge. There's
oh yeah,
positive momentum and negative momentum. And when
Oh
you have
yeah.
positive momentum, it's a snowball that does not keep going. So the way I see it, especially for new agents, you're brand new, you're showing up every single day, you're busting your butt, you're working, you had a good week or a good day. If you had a good Monday, you better be Tuesday morning at the running and gunning at 8. Why? Because you already have positive momentum. Just keep the snowball rolling. That's the way I see it.
Absolutely. And guys, there's a lot to say about Adrian's schedule. It's very condensed, it's very simple, clear cut, to the point, but there's also metrics in there, and I think that that's important to hit on, right? So first of all, getting onto Zoom or to your virtual office or into your office, whatever that looks like for you, get yourself there. But also making sure you're on with your team. So Adrian said he dials 9 to 12 and he makes sure he has a minimum of 150 dials. We're no longer in the field, guys. I have to remember that and remind myself of it all the time. Okay. We're no longer in the field. So, with that being said, all we can do is track metrics. Like literally, we track metrics in the field. It's going to be at a much higher level because it's phone calls. But if we can track dials, contacts, in what's happening in our appointments, we can essentially backtrack everything that's happening within your business. Now, if you're like, I made 150 dials in the week, I think me and Adrian, like, we got nothing to talk about here. You made 150 dials in the week. We do that every 3 hours, right? So going back to that idea of depending on the pickup rate, guys, 30 dials, 30 leads minimally dialed per hour, that should just be the expectation, like period, right there. And then taking a short break, so to say, and then getting back on the phone 3 to 6, 3 to 7. And he says he does that Monday, Thursday, he's dialing all day. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, running appointments. So,
Yeah.
guys, this is same thing that we were doing when we were in the home in terms of the actual scheduling piece. And Adrian, you are scheduling for Zoom appointments. Is that right?
Yeah, I always try for Zoom. That's for me is just game changer, and I'll go into it why. But for the older couple, I will do phone appointments, but I typically prefer Zoom. And as well, back to the dialing point, I just pulled this out. I have this. I don't know if you guys run this, a dial tracker.
Yes.
It is huge, especially for a new agent, especially as an upline to your new agent. They can use accountability on themselves and you can go up to them. And typically within the first couple of weeks, you'll know where someone's at, depending on their dial tracker.
Right. And depending on how they improve or don't improve using that tracker, right? So guys, like, use your dial tracker. That's huge. And now it seems like, Adrian, you're somebody who, when you came in, you weren't afraid to invest in your business. Even if that's from just the essence of leads and a dialer, right? That's still an investment. Talk to us a little bit about, if you can bring yourself back to being a brand new agent, because you are still newer, you know what I mean, which is amazing because you hit Hall of Fame. But what made you or helped you understand the importance of investing back into your business?
For me, I'm a very competitive person. And the way I saw it was, okay, who are successful in this business? You look at them, how much do they spend a week on leads? How much do they spend on this? And they put everything. There's people that spend $20,000, $30,000 a month on lead flow. So I looked at one of my uplines. I was like, how do I get to you? Spending $5,000 a week on leads, doing $80,000 a month, making money, has the house of his dreams, a car of his dreams. So I was like, whoa, okay, I know I have to spend money. So the moment I got a sale, I threw it all right back in there, because the way I see it, especially too, if you put your back against the wall, I guarantee you will dial those leads. For example, go get an expensive car. Even if you can't afford it, go do it. I guarantee you'll pay for it. But it is a
100.
business. At the end of the day, first year of any business, and then remember, any business, you have to give it back. You always have to give back to your business. It's the first year. Is it going to be profitable or not? Maybe, maybe or not. Just remember, it's a business. You're in a business.
Right. And if you're not going to compete with other people within your business, it's survival of the fittest. You're going to get pushed out eventually. Right. And I think
Yeah.
that that's huge. So I love how you said you put your back against the wall. You can pretty much accomplish anything you put your mind to. It's just up to you what you want to accomplish. So, guys, investing back into the business, even using the example of your first sale, you invested that money back into the business. You weren't confused, right?
Yeah.
Being competitive in this business is huge, because if you're not, it's like, I always say it's you versus you. But once you get to a point where you're like, what's next? You have to look at who's doing what you want to do. And just like Adrian said, hey, how do I get there? Like, I'm going to do the same thing you're doing, but I'm probably going to outperform you because I'm really competitive. Right. So I love that. And now you work predominantly all mortgage protection. Is that right?
Yeah, mortgage protection on Zoom, typically.
Okay. Mortgage protection on Zoom. And now you're scheduling your appointments. Adrian, how many appointments are you scheduling per day? Like to ensure that you're having a successful day?
Well, for the week, the sweet spot is 40 appointments. If you have 40 booked appointments on a week, you're making money, you're issuing premium, you're actually protecting people. But you always want minimum 8 appointments a day, minimum. And good quality appointments. Don't like not no quick set, like good quality 8 minimum a day. That for me, I'm good. Typically, I always get between 10 to 11, but 8 minimum.
I think that that's huge. 8 minimum a day because, and just like you said, like 8 solid booked appointments. It's not like, oh, maybe I'll answer or call me tomorrow after 6. Like, no, like they grabbed the pen and paper, they wrote the information down, they know what it's about, they're on board, they're ready to talk to you, right?
Yeah.
If you can have that, Adrian essentially is doing appointments 4 days a week, 10 appointments a day, 10 to 12, just like he said, sweet spot. That's huge, guys. So make sure your appointment count is there. If not, you're literally negatively working against yourself psychologically too. Now, I think that's important, and it's important to be competitive. It's important to have a process. It's important to have a schedule. But guys, it's also really important to be able to come in and say, like, after you've been here, for example, 14 months, such as Adrian, to be able to say, like, hey, when I came in, I'm really happy that I did this. Or when I came in, I'm really happy that I changed this, whatever it is. If you can bring yourself back, Adrian, maybe to just getting started as a brand new agent, what are some of the things that you could give yourself a pat on the back and be like, I'm really happy I did ABC because you could have went the other way.
Yeah. For me, I just really there was people because there's people that you look up to in life and especially in this industry. One of my uplines, insane producer. He had everything I wanted. The car of my dreams, house of my dreams, doing the numbers I wanted to do. People respected him. And I was just a sponge. Like when I tell you I saw my upline run 1,000 appointments, I saw 1,000 appointments. He's from Virginia, so you guys have an idea. I'm Cuban, Hispanic. Um, Sometimes you guys will hear me from watching him run so many appointments because he has a country accent. On my appointments, I'm country. But for me is I just really wanted it bad in terms of I was a sponge. Shadowing is huge. I saw so many appointments being ran that I easily saw him run over 1,000 appointments. And it got to the point because we had no script. We didn't really have a script. When we first started, it was all over the place. Um, I didn't have a script. I ended up making the script. I recorded his call, and the whole call, I went word by word and I typed it on my notes.
Mm.
It got to the point where, for me, scripts in the beginning, they're awesome. They're great. But you want to get to the point where if you remember your dial track, your dial script, your appointment script, if you remember that from the top of your head, during your appointments, you're just going to sound such more confidence. Why? Because imagine, put it like this is the way I see it. You're saying the same thing, the same time to different people. Everyone's different. At the end of the day, when people run their appointments, we all say the same stuff. But when you remember the script from the top of your head, you can outflow a little bit, then be able to go back into it. You sound more natural. You sound more real. Get less chargebacks. You build better relationships with people. So for me, it was just, I just wanted to learn really bad. I ended up recording him. I made the script through my notes, got to the point where I didn't even need the script anymore. And it's just been like that. I was a sponge. And it's be like up shadowing people, following your upline, doing exactly what they do. Just don't even question it.
I think that that's awesome. And I think that, guys, if we can all come in and be a sponge and continue to be sponges, right? Because that's what it's about. Like, that's what's going to help you win in the beginning. Guys, if you're brand new and you're like, I don't want to unmute, I don't want to ask a question, I don't want to ask about leads, I don't, I love you, but I don't care what you want to do. If you want to make money, you need to become that sponge. And shadowing appointments is huge. Even if you're on here, you're not licensed yet. You're waiting to get your license, waiting to clear, you're waiting for, why are we not listening to Zoom live dials? Why are you not plugged in with the teams? Get plugged in. And I love, Adrian, particularly what you said about you recorded, an appointment and you essentially transcribed it onto your computer. You're like, we didn't really use a lot of scripts, things of that sort. This is a major key that I just heard right here because, Adrian, I came from a practice company into the IMO space, and I had no idea like how there were so many different insurance companies. Like my head was everywhere. And my bank account was very low, to say the least, coming from that practice company. But one thing that I did was I kept listening to this same in-home presentation because it was the same person that quote unquote sounded like me, or I could most resonate with at the time. And I literally typed it out on a Word document. Guys, when you type something out, like how Adrian just explained, you transcribe something from literally a video to you typing it out, you're going to mentally understand it more. I read that thing like quite a few times, but then just like Adrian said, when you know it up here and you don't have to look at it here, you're going to sound a lot more powerful on the phone. You can get a little bit off script and get right back on and not lose the parts of that are very important to hit on as we kind of walk through. So I think that that's important. And then, like you said, a script is great, but when you can master that, like that's when you're actually in control of the conversation, right? Because
No, for sure.
if you throw me off in the middle, right, and like I'm like, well, it's like that's gone, right?
Yeah.
The death pause. So
Yeah.
that's huge. And you guys, it's like all he did was a little bit more than some of us are willing to do, right? So like do the little bit more because it's going to pay off. So I love that, Adrian. And you sound a lot less robotic when we're doing it that way too, right?
Yeah, you build better rapport with them. You sound less robotic. Your chargeback ratio becomes really, really good. You're able to connect with them, and then you're still saying the same thing the script does, is just every person's different. I say the same thing every single time, just to its own little flow to the person.
Absolutely right. Everybody got a little bit of different something going on where they have a wife, they don't have a wife, they
Yeah,
have kids, they don't, they have a dog, right? And the list goes on.
you got it.
Now, just to talk a little bit about your sales process, I don't want to keep you on too long, but it's really important, talk to us a little bit about, so you mentioned predominantly all Zoom. You'd say like 95% Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, why did you decide Zoom, or what makes you like Zoom better?
Would I be able to share my screen and show you something?
Christina, does he have the ability to do that?
You should be able to, Adrian. Hold on, let me see.
Share. Oh, send request.
Okay, perfect. You should be all set.
Okay. So on Zoom, the reason I like Zoom, for example, is I'm a big person of like visuals. Everything is Zoom. You get, when you're in person, camera to camera, you have a nice office, you get a nice little background, you throw on a nice little blazer. Right there, you're not really a salesperson. They respect you more. You're not just there trying to sell them a high policy. The trust is built better. The relationship is built better. It's here. Phone appointments are still great. Trust me, I've done a lot of business over the phone. But for me, Zoom is just, you just get rid of so many objections. So many. And especially for a new agent, I feel like if you're willing to take the jump just to go from a phone out of nowhere to Zoom, you're just elevating and you're just gaining more confidence. But for me, on Zoom, I run a PowerPoint. So like, for example, we'll do this. So start the meeting, visualization. I admit them to the room. Hey, Bob, how are you? I start sharing my screen. Awesome. Can you see my screen? Good to go. Show them my state license. It's already here. I build my credibility. They respect me. Boom. Then I'll explain to them what it is that we'll be doing today. First thing, some health questions. Second thing, some financial questions. Third thing, obviously, if this is something for you, if it's something you really need, because there's people I see that don't really need this, all you can really do is I'll help you submit an application today. I'll explain to them the things I'll be covering. Good to go. Then when I'm asking the health questions, I'm sharing my screen the whole time. Whole purpose is it just sounds and looks more professional for me. So this is when I get to the health.
Adrian, just sorry to interject. Right now, what I see is like a list of states on
Oh,
PowerPoint.
that's weird. Uh, I thought I was sharing my screen.
Now I see your mouse, but I don't see anything else.
Let me stop sharing. Hold on. Where'd you guys go?
We're with you. You're
Okay.
good.
Hold on. I thought you guys saw my screen. I'm sorry for that.
No, we had it, but it wasn't.
Here?
Okay,
You
there we
guys see
go.
it?
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So start the screen. This is what I'm showing. I introduce myself. Then after I introduce myself, I show my state license. It just builds credibility, rapport. I'll explain everything that we'll be doing here today from my role and purpose. This is where I explain my role and purpose. After that, when I jump into the health questions, I'm right into health questions. I'm sharing your screen. Listen, Bob, I'm gonna ask you some quick health questions here, sir. Just respond in yes or no, and if any. And these health questions, they're tied to you personally, has nothing to do with family. Any heart attack, strokes, and they see this, right? So they see you over the camera, they see your license, they see you have a PowerPoint. Right there, you just have more trust, right? Then I'll be like, look, Bob, state does have a bunch, over 100 insurance carriers. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not gonna show you all 100 of them because we'll be here all day. These are just some of the A+ rated ones. Now, in your case, the carrier that's most likely to approve you, what I always say, America. A+ rated insurer carrier, boom. After I do that, explain everything. This is my money part. This is where I love. This is, for example, I'll put Bob makes 5,000, or let's say 3,000, and drop the little text box. So this is what I do when I go over a financial inventory. This is why Zoom for me is insane. It's such a big difference because they can see this, right? So I'll add up all their expenses. I'll put here their payoff, right? Let's say 248. Their equity depends on what you're doing. So let's say 30,000. And then I'll go through their finances. So what their monthly mortgage payments is, their car payments, their utility bills, all of that. Reason I do this, they could see it. And secondly, you want to know how much it is as their discretionary income, as one does have left over, simply due to the fact you don't want to show them a high option and they really can't afford it. So you show it to them, right? And then this is their income. So Bob, this is you. Betty, this is you. And total monthly expenses. And then this is your discretionary income. Now I'll be like, Bob, now a quick question for you, sir. God forbid something were to happen. Let's say you're no longer here with us. This $3,000 just went like this. How would you see Betty's situation financially with $6,000 in expenses? Hit him with something like that as I'm sharing my screen. So this is all visual. And then you have fallback if you want to, if you're doing like an IUL or an investment, this is where you really do it. But point is, I share my screen and I'm deleting their income the whole time.
They're seeing you essentially like this is what it looks like if you're not here tomorrow financially.
Exactly. Yeah. There's that. And then for me, this PowerPoint's huge. It just builds so much more credibility
For sure.
from the start to the end, and they can actually see it. Over the phone, it's awesome. Sometimes I've even told them to write it down. Like, hey, Bob, you got a pencil there? Like, okay, write $3,000 a month. That's what you make. Write your expenses, 5,000, and then write your equity and your payoff. I'll tell them to write that. And I'm not, Bob, write an X on that 3,000. How does that look like for your family if that income's not there? Hit them with something like that. For me, just visuals are very important. They see it and realize it better. Zoom the credibility. You throw on a nice little blazer. It looks good. Especially if you're a gal, a woman, your close ratio over Zoom should be 1,000% more than us men. You guys just sell better. It's the truth.
I love this. And I think it's amazing visual, especially with the mortgage protection appointment. It's just commonsensical and being able to show them what they make, what the other one makes, what it would look like if one of them should pass away. Because I'm sure, again, that PowerPoint looks very different, contingent upon what those two people look like or that one person looks like. I love that. And I love how you start with your role and purpose. So that's alleviating your objections on the front end to make sure you don't get them on the back end. And to kind of wrap that up, Adrian, what would you say to when you talk to families every single week If you talk to 10 families, how many of them are you probably helping?
Not to really toot my horn or anything, but
You can.
I typically, so at a 5 appointments, let's say 10 appointment show, I'm probably closing 80, 90% of
Okay,
them.
so you just need them, essentially, you need them to show up,
Yeah,
right?
I
Like,
just want them to
that's fair. You need them
show,
to show up
have a
and
quality appointment. They know what it is going into the meeting, because if they go on, they're like, oh, I don't really know what this is. That's not really a good appointment. If they
you
know
set
what it
yourself
is,
up to fail.
they're quality appointments. Typically, most of the time, you should have a high closing ratio. Regardless, if you have 10 appointments a day, half show, and you close 3 or 4, you're killing it. You gotta keep doing it every single day.
Right. I love that. And just kind of last couple of questions to wrap up. What do you feel like you do? Because I love how you're talking about quality appointments. I think that that really matters, guys. An appointment is not, hey, Bob, can you call me later? Yeah, I'll call you at 4. That's not an appointment. Like, not an appointment. How are you vetting it, Adrian? If you're booking myself for an appointment, what does that sound like?
Well, oh, do you want me to role
If
play an
it,
appointment?
whatever's easiest for you to explain it, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the way I see it, number one, if you get more than 3 objections while booking an appointment, more than likely it's not going to be a quality appointment, because you have to overcome 3 objections. Number two, for your script, I don't really use it, but I still have it here. Sorry, the guys drew something on my thing, so I blocked it out. Um, your role and purpose as you're dialing, you need to sound as professional, as boring as possible. Make it straight to the point, boom. After you get that role and purpose and you're validating their information, hey Bob, just to confirm, I have your total mortgage amount here with First Financial Bank as for 400,000. Is that right? Yes.
Yep.
So once you start validating a little bit things, that's where you want to, if you still sound very boring in underwriting, but that's where you can loosen up a little bit, just a little bit, so they can relate to you, they can hear you, and they can remember you. Another thing for me is that's huge is while you guys are dialing, I call a lot of people by their last names, ma'am and sir, every single time. That is crucial to respect you more. Another thing too is your tonality. You need to have a good tone. And for me, the way I've taught people to get their tone, the way I found my tone is I record myself. So I'll grab my phone, and as you're dialing, go to the voice memo app thing, record it. Like, damn. For me, I'm young, so I have to play the part in terms of I need the PowerPoint, you look professional, I need to have a deeper voice. I change my tone completely when I dial. I have to sound a little bit more professional. So what I'll do is I'll record myself and I'll start deepening my voice. And I'll be like, no, that didn't sound good. I did that probably like 60 times before I found the sweet spot. Now I know for me to dial, I know the tone I have to put, the face I have to put, I have to like hold back my voice a little bit just to sound a little bit more professional. That's how you find your tone. You need to have tone. You need to have it. And that also comes with confidence as well. If you know the script from the top of your head, you should be good. But record yourself. So that's that quality appointment. And as well, I don't know how you guys do it at the end of the appointment. I'll be like, okay, Bob, now, if possible, are you able to grab a pen and paper for me and let me know when you're ready to write a few things down? This is after.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay. Now, first thing I want you to write down is going to be my first and last name. That's going to be Adrian Sardinas. So Adrian. Last name Sardinas, Sard as in Delta, Inas. A little trick when you go to say, for example, like S as in South, D as in Delta, try to use some military stuff. Sounds professional. Okay, I wrote that down. Next thing, ma'am, I want you to write down for me is going to be my national producer number. That number is 205 404 26. 205 404 26. So with my name there and the national producer number, if you go to the Department of Insurance website with the state of Florida, you put my name there with that license number, it's going to tell you everything about me. You could even send me a box of cookies to my address if you'd like. Always laugh. Right? Perfect. And as well, ma'am, for the meeting, any major medications that you're currently taking, please have those ready for me. I will need the name of those medications to figure out what you qualify for. Last thing as well, I want you to write down for me, ma'am, is simply the date and time we agreed to meet. So we said for tomorrow at what time did you say again? Did we say again?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Perfect. That should be all I'll need as of now. So you do know you're going to receive an email and a text message reminder with that Zoom link, so you can join from your computer or phone. 5-10 minutes before the meeting time, click on it, join the meeting. At the end of that, that's where you throw the little joke, you tell them to write your information down. If you go through all of that, you didn't get an objection, you told them to write your stuff down, your credentials down, it's pretty much a good appointment.
Absolutely. I know that if I'm writing that down, I'm showing up to the appointment. I'm taking it seriously. So I love that because you hit on a couple of really important things there. Tonality is going to be key, guys. You got to know yourself to be able to be like, hey, like Adrian saying, hey, I got to deepen my voice a little bit, or hey, I got to, pull back a little bit. I have to know where I'm at, right? Voice recording yourself can be the most uncomfortable thing, guys, but it is so beyond necessary. Adrian just said you open up the voice memo app, you press record and you dial. Like people will be like, oh, how do you do that? Guys, don't act like it's rocket science. Like we all know how to do it. It's who is willing to do it, right? Who's willing to be like, hey, well, you sounded like you were a telemarketer at the beginning because you were like, hey, John. It's like, no. Like your tonality's off. Calm down. Bring yourself back to boring. I think that that's key. Boring is important when you're scheduling an appointment. Ma'am, sir, miss, Mrs., depending where they are, how old they are, etc., where they're from. And then also just how at the end, Adrian, you're essentially having them write that information down. If you can have somebody write your information down, guys, the probability of them showing up to that appointment, in my personal opinion, is probably 80% higher, debatably higher than that. If they don't write the information down, I'm leaving that on their voicemail, all the information Adrian just said. So guys, when scheduling an appointment, if you want a higher quality appointment, which we all do want that, or we shouldn't be counting it as an appointment, those are the things that you need to do. Adrian just went through that beautifully. Have any major medications that you're taking, readily available. He's prepping the client. At that point, that person's prepared and ready to hear, ready to listen, and probably ready to buy. So Adrian, your time has been incredible today. I appreciate you. Before we wrap up, last question for you. Being that we are in a brand new year, 2025, what are your goals, whether that's personal, business, or both, going into the year?
So I want to double exactly what I just did. So I'm probably going to finish the year short of 450. Next year, I want to go minimum 800. And my team, we did close to 1 million this year. I want to double it. That's my goal. And in terms of so the way I see it is you actually need to have a pretty deep why. Like if I could show you guys the screen under my computer, I have two little notes. 70,000 this month. People are counting on your work. You need to actually like we're all in this for money, pretty much. I know we're all in it, but it has to go a little bit deeper than money. Like for me, I love changing people's lives, and that's with insurance, outside of insurance, in general. When you help someone, you protect them, good, and when you bring someone on and you show them that it's possible, that for me is a game changer. Like I love seeing agents get paid. I love seeing brand new agents get paid. I feel like my purpose in this world is to change people's lives. The way I am now, I'm not the same man I was a year and a half ago, but your why has to be pretty big. It can't just be money. Okay, why is it that you want money? You want to change your daughter's life, for example. Okay, you want to change your daughter's life, you want her to have the life of your dreams, then guess what? Write it down somewhere where you always are, and if you're not doing what you have to do, look at that little paper, be like, you're failing your daughter, for example. You just have to have a pretty deep why, and you got to dig deep. And you guys were talking about earlier, books, awesome, audiobooks are the best.
Absolutely. And, I love how you brought up changing people's lives. And that's really what it's all about. Like, it seems like your life's changed for the better. You want to, pay that forward, so to say. You seem like an amazing person, and also just somebody who's ready to lead, guide, and direct people to the right place in this business. So no doubt in my mind, I'm not betting against you or your team that you're going to personally help, over 800,000 next year and over 2 million as a team. I would bet over 10 million as a team, Adrian. So thank you so much for being on with us today. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you at convention. You will be there, right?
I'll be there.
No doubt, right? Perfect. Adrian, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for being on. Make it a great day. Take care.
No worries. If you guys have ever any questions, you guys could just reach me out through Instagram. I'm more than happy to help anyone.